Thousands of names echo through the halls of memory when we speak of 9/11. But hidden beneath the rubble and tragedy is a name that doesn't fit the narrative as neatly as the rest. Sneha Philip, a young doctor, a wife, a sister, and perhaps the most mysterious missing person connected to that day. Did she perish as a hero in the towers? Did she slip away into the city's darkness while the world burned? Or was her fate something stranger? Before we dive in, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below what you think happened to Sneha. Let's peel back the layers of a haunting disappearance that remains unsolved even after 2 decades. Sneha Philip was born in India, raised in upstate New York, and carved out a promising life for herself in Manhattan's bustling heart. She was a Cornell graduate, an internal medicine resident at Cabrini Medical Center, and newly married to Ron Lieberman, an emergency room doctor. To neighbors and friends, Sneha was magnetic, warm, bold, fiercely independent. She loved New York's energy, the late nights, the freedom, the anonymity. Sometimes that freedom worried her family. Sneha often stayed out late, club hopping, meeting new friends, vanishing into the city's neon haze until dawn. But to Sneha, this was life at its fullest. On September 10th, 2001, Sneha was off work. She spent the day running errands, shopping for household items at Century 21, a department store just steps from the World Trade Center. Security footage shows her alone, carefully picking out clothes, bedding, and bathroom accessories. The last confirmed sighting shows her leaving the store around 7:18 p.m. After that, silence. She didn't call her family, didn't meet her husband, didn't use her credit card again. That night, Ron came home to an empty apartment. But this wasn't unusual. Sneha often stayed with her brother or friends, or just crashed after a night out. So Ron went to bed, expecting to see her in the morning. But the morning never came. At 8:46 a.m. on September 11th, the first plane struck the North Tower. By the time the second plane hit, New York had become a battlefield of falling glass and screams. Ron raced back to the apartment from his overnight shift. He found no sign that Sneha had been home. Her new shopping bags were there, but they were empty, which suggested she'd returned briefly to drop things off, or that she never made it back. He tried her phone again and again, but the lines were dead. He searched hospitals, shelters, any triage center that might have taken her in, but the chaos swallowed everything. For Sneha's family, the explanation was painfully simple. She had run to help. She was a doctor, trained to heal. Her mother and brother believed she likely saw the smoke, the flames, and ran towards the towers. Maybe she tried to reach a triage center. Maybe she was last seen aiding victims in the lobby or nearby streets. It was a comforting thought. Their daughter, the healer, the hero. But investigators wanted more than faith. They wanted proof. The NYPD dug deeper. They found cracks in Sneha's perfect narrative. Months before, she'd been suspended from her residency. An alleged incident involving missed shifts, possible substance abuse, and a dispute with a colleague. They found her pattern of nights out, sometimes with women, sometimes with strangers she just met. Her husband said he didn't mind. He described her as adventurous, independent, a free spirit living her truth. But to detectives, these late nights raised questions. If Sneha had stayed out on the 10th, where did she go? Who was she with? Did she meet someone who meant her harm? Did she disappear before the towers even fell? There was no sign of Sneha in any hospital log. No witness could confirm she was near the towers that morning. The city's grainy security footage never placed her near ground zero. Her credit cards and bank accounts were never touched again. Her cell phone pinged once that morning, but it was inconclusive. Maybe it was automated. Maybe it was her. Rumors swirled that she may have staged her disappearance. Some whispered she'd been depressed, that maybe she'd planned to vanish and the attacks provided the perfect smokescreen. Others believe she ran afoul of someone dangerous during her night out. Ron never accepted the idea that Sneha left him. He fought the city's medical examiner to have her listed as an official 9/11 victim. In 2004, she was removed from the list due to lack of evidence. For Ron, it was an insult that turned his grief into a battle. He hired lawyers, filed appeals, and shared stories of her compassion and bravery. He argued that she had to be there. She was blocks away. She was a doctor. She wouldn't have run. In 2008, after years of legal back and forth, a judge ruled that it was more likely than not that Sneha died at Ground Zero. Her name was re-added to the official victims list, her legacy partially restored. Theories keep Sneha's story alive. Some cling to the hero narrative, that she ran to help and died nameless in the smoke and rubble. Others believe she was killed the night before, her body hidden while the city's attention turned skyward. The club scene, the late-night streets, so many dark corners to lose someone forever. And then there's the theory that she left it all behind. A woman who lived life on her terms. Maybe she needed a clean slate. But that theory cuts deepest for her family, who say Sneha would never abandon them. The story of Sneha Philip is like a ghost wandering lower Manhattan, always just out of reach, hidden behind the smoke and ruin of that day. Her husband still keeps reminders of her, photos in their old apartment, mementos of a life they planned but never lived. For him, every anniversary is not just about the towers. It's about the void in his bed, the unanswered knock at the door. To her parents, Sneha is frozen in time, forever young, forever fearless, running into danger when everyone else fled. They reject the idea that she could have chosen to vanish. They refuse to believe rumors of secret lives or dark nights out could erase the truth they know, that she was a healer who died a hero. But the truth is slippery. The city that gave Sneha freedom also gave her 1,000 ways to disappear. A bar where no one remembers her name. A street where cameras didn't point. A moment when fear and chaos buried every clue that could have brought her home. In the years since, true crime sleuths and internet theorists have tried to piece her story back together. They trace her last steps, dissect grainy footage, chase ghosts in blurry images. But Sneha remains stubbornly out of focus. She is both victim and question mark, both heroine and enigma. Her name is carved in the stone at Ground Zero, yet her cause of death still carries an invisible asterisk that no judge or investigator can truly erase. And maybe that's what haunts us most. Not just that we don't know what happened to Sneha Philip, but that we can't know. Not completely. The city swallowed her story like it swallowed so many others. But hers didn't end in fire and ash alone. It ended in whispers, secrets, and an eternal question. When we mourn the towers, we mourn for Sneha too. A life that flickered and vanished. A mystery bound forever to a tragedy so big it could hide 1,000 smaller ones inside it. So the next time you hear the names read at the 9/11 memorial, listen for Sneha's. Remember her as more than a victim. Remember her as a question. A reminder that even in the age of cameras and headlines, a single person can disappear in plain sight. And maybe that's the real terror of her story. Not the falling towers, not the flames or the fear, but the idea that sometimes the truth just walks away with us and leaves only a name behind. The story of Sneha Philip is not just about a woman who went missing. It's about how a single life can vanish inside a catastrophe so huge it swallows every clue. When we look at her name on the memorial, it stands shoulder to shoulder with thousands of others. But hers is the only one wrapped in rumors and doubt that won't fade away. Her husband, Ron, still lives with ghosts. Every night he turns the key to an apartment they once shared, half expecting to hear the door creak open behind him. He's had to defend her memory from gossip that says she was reckless, that she was careless, that maybe she ran away from it all. But he clings to the image of Sneha as a healer, someone who would race towards the towers, not from them. Some detectives whisper that maybe Sneha never reached Ground Zero, that maybe her night out ended in a dark encounter that ended her life before the planes ever struck. But that whisper will never become a fact. The evidence is ashes and rumor, mixed in with the dust that blanketed lower Manhattan that day. Maybe that's why her story still haunts us. In a world where we track every step, every signal, every movement, here's a modern ghost story that slipped through our fingers. Maybe she died a hero. Maybe she died alone. Maybe she didn't die at all. So we're left with a name, carved in stone, echoing every September. A question carved in grief. A reminder that sometimes the truth doesn't die. It just hides forever in the smoke.